Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.eliances.com.
That's right, and welcome back and thank you to, I really appreciate our audience, our listeners watching and listening also too on our radio and all the various outlets online and that. Thank you. And thank you for the feedback we continue to get when I interviewed Tom Rogers. Who is he? He's the CNBC founder, MSNBC, CEO of TiVo, and many more. So continue watching and make sure that you go to eliances.com, click on radio to see some past interviews. Once again, that's ELIANCES.com. So I'm really excited today. Okay, she has so many things going on. I mean, a ton of things going on, and she's going to share with us what some of those things are. Her name is Samara Beth. She built and builds a winning brand, booking more stages and bank more revenue. You can reach her at SamaraBethandCo.com. Once again, that's SamaraBethandCo.com. All right, Samara, you're involved in so many activities. My head is spinning. Where do we even start? Give us a little bit background about you, because you've got a lot of responsibilities at work and you've got a lot of responsibilities at home.
Thank you for having me, David. And my head is spinning too, because it's been quite the week. We had an incredible grand table. People flew in for it. We were networking all week, speakers. And then, of course, we had some tragedies in there this week. And it has been go, go, go. But you know, the biggest thing for me is I show up as much as possible. So first of all, my name is Samara. It rhymes with Tamara. I'll get it to you today. That's how you remember it. And I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I was born and raised there. Amazing community in the 80s and 70s. Safe life. I was an entrepreneur as a little kid. I started probably at like 8. Was immediately shoveling snow and raking leaves for money. Top seller in the chocolate sales and all the things we had to do as a kid, mother's helper, babysitter. And then as soon as I got my driver's license at 16 on my birthday, boom, I was working in the food industry, events, and it never stopped. So I think entrepreneurialism is in my blood. And I am so blessed to have 2 incredible children. My daughter's 15, my son's 21. And I have lived, it's crazy. I have lived in 13 cities, 12 US cities, 1 Canadian province, and 30 homes. 30 homes. So.
Samara, how do you balance though everything? Taking care of kids, running a business, you have a tremendous amount of connections going on. How do you balance? How do you even remember where to even go with all the activities going on?
Well, every time you move, I'm pretty much a reinvention maverick. So every time you move, you have to build a village. You have to create a community, and the community is going to be your work community, your neighbor community, your kids' friends community. Maybe you have time for friends yourself. I actually recently have had to really shut down my social life. But what's interesting is because I'm in branding, events, marketing, and public relations, most of my friends are also working with me. So we actually get to kind of mix business with pleasure a lot. So I'm very intentional when I volunteer. I'm intentional with my friendships. And when you move around like this and you have kids, I was very strategic. So the first thing that would happen when I would move and enroll my children is like, oh, what do you do for work? And I'm like, well, I own an event production business, which I had Celebrations by Samara for 12 years. It was social events, corporate, etc. And they're like, oh my gosh, we have this carnival. We do this gala. We've got this anniversary coming up. We're raising funds for this, blah, blah, blah. So occupational hazard, they whooped me in. And how could I say no? So, but I got to see my kids and help my kids at the same time. And then I would become like the celebrity mom around, and all the kids love me. And so they wanted to come hang out with my kids. It just is very intentional. Same with work. You just have to make sure that you're kind of mixing a little bit in if you're short on time.
Now you spent over 30 years helping people become unforgettable. What's the one thing that makes a person instantly unforgettable the moment they walk in a room?
Oh, wow. I love that question, David. So it's funny you asked that directly, because people say to me they love my energy. So I'm tiny, you know this, but your audience may not. I'm 5 feet tall. You usually see me in heels. I'm 5 feet tall. A nurse said I was 4'11". I said, do it again, like 3 times. So, but I'm 5 feet tall. We're staying with that. And like a 00, I'm very tiny, petite. And so when people see me on podcast interviews and all the virtual events, they're like, and then they meet me in person, they always say, you're way shorter than I expected. And they always say, I love your energy. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if it was positive or negative. Some people have told me it's too much. And then the other people have said, don't listen to them. That is who you are. And when I walk into a room, people know. And I'm a hugger and I'm an engager. And I love introducing each people to other people and building and growing my community. I like to say I collect people, like kind of well, not in a freezer in the basement, creepy kind of way. But I collect people. And because the silver lining of the pandemic is we had to go virtual, and I hate virtual. Like I was like, oh my God, no, I'm a hugger. I need to be with people. I'm out, an extrovert. And so it was hard for me, but I did learn to embrace it. And the silver lining to that is now my network is global and massive. So it helped.
Excellent. Excellent. And again, you're watching and listening to me, David Cogan, host of the Eliances Heroes Show. Make sure you go to Eliances.com. That's ELIANCES.com and click on radio to see some past interviews. We have with us Samara Beth. Build a winning brand, book more stages, and bank more revenue. You can reach her at samarabethandco.com. In fact, Samara, you've been part of Eliances now for some time. You've come to a variety of our weekly private roundtables. In fact, you were just recently and presented, I must say, too, at the Eliances Grand Table. Talk to our audience about maybe what Eliances means to you.
So thank you, David. Last year when I attended my first Grand Table and sat in the front row, I always go VIP. That's number one. Big tip. Always go diamond, VIP, whatever that level is, because I always say that the best networking happens after the network. You start with that connection and then you meet for dinner or drinks or in a lobby or whatever. And so I always go VIP because that's where the VIP receptions are and the more intimate gatherings. So last year I did go VIP and I was front row and I fell in love with it. And it was very different from obviously meeting with a more intimate group in, Tempe in Arizona. And so when I did that and I was sitting there and I'm watching all these billionaires and celebrities and athletes, some of which are my friends and my clients, mind you. And I said to myself, I'm going to be up there next year. And that's it. And then I take action. It's really quite simple. You make a decision, you stick with it, and you commit to it, and you make it happen, and you do whatever it costs. Like you just have to keep going. And so a good example of what happened with Eliances this week is, last night, I actually went to Jacob's event at the Scottsdale Airport, which is just across the street from where I live. And so I was happy to be there in support, but I also had a nice intimate conversation with a gentleman who put his card in my raffle box, which we should pick a winner today. I've got him sitting right here. And we ended up talking for an hour nonstop, and we have total connections. And now we're going to be working together. That's what it's about. It's those connections. I met a boy named Maximus. He is in college and he just posted on LinkedIn. He's a senior at Purdue, and he missed his big employee recruiting business fair that they had at the university because I met him on a Zoom, which was actually with Eric Swanson and Habit Warrior. I met him on a Zoom. I met his father, Tim, briefly. I was very late to the Zoom. It was almost over. He immediately connected with me on LinkedIn. He took action. And Maximus, then again, he's a student in college. He immediately booked a Zoom with me. We got on the Zoom. I fell in love with his app and what he was doing about learning because I have a learning disability and my son's on the spectrum. And it really spoke to me. And I loved his drive and his energy and his thoughts. And I said, you have to come to Grand Table if you can. This was like a week ago, I think. And so he's like asking me all these questions about hotels and all this. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm actually VIP and at the table. I can't really kind of take care of this kid who I met for 2 seconds. And so I said to him, I'm like, do you want to invite your dad maybe, so that you guys can come together? He's like, didn't even think about it. He invites his dad. Him and his dad come. His dad's a big hypnotherapist who knows Mark Victor Hansen and all that, but he was so excited to meet them again. I introduced them around. And
Nice.
Maximus now has an amazing network, and so does his father, Tim. They have an amazing network. And then we met at dinner right before they went to the airport privately. So again, it's these connections, but you have to grow on it. Like Keith Cardinal and I, we do breakfast. You know, we switch off. AC
Right.
Caswell and I, we do a lot together as well. So the power is huge. You just have to keep following up and connecting in person.
Excellent. And again, the people that you mentioned, as far as Mark Victor and others, definitely the members of Eliances. Samara knows them and communicates with them, which leads up to the next question, Samara. How do you, what's some of the secrets as far as approaching others and being able to communicate with them? What do you even start to say to break the ice where it doesn't look like you're a pusher or trying to, hog them or, push your products? Because as you know, at Eliances, we definitely, don't do that. And we don't encourage people to do that because it's an instant turnoff. It's almost like, okay, how much money do you make? How much will you spend? So what is some of like the secrets of how you break that ice with somebody who you don't know, you've never met before? And at Eliances, they could be multi-quadrillion billionaires.
Yes, so that's an incredible question.
And do you teach that too? Do you teach that? Can someone hire you to get that coaching?
Oh, I love that question. Thank you. It's so funny. I always forget my offers and all the things I do because I'm so busy getting to know them, which is pretty much the tip right there. So I actually created a course called Networking Your Way to Wealth, or Networking with Intention. Honestly, it's the same. It's just a matter of what your goals are. And networking with intention is so crucial because, and I used to teach a course called Kitikit to kids when my kids were younger. It's kids etiquette, but I integrated networking in there because you want them to learn young. And we always throw our kids in the lion's den. It's the successes. You have to smile. You shake hands. You say your name. They say their name. You say their name back to them, and you just continue that shake off. So shake off is what I mean is, first of all, people get really nervous when they're meeting somebody, whether it's just a household name. It could even be like a Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone, but it's also a celebrity or a billionaire, someone who invented something, and you get really nervous, sweaty palms, like getting on stage, same thing, right? You're on stage with this person. So shake it off. Shake it off. Do box breathing if you have to, but take a deep breath in your nose. Hold it for 4 seconds and then release for 4 seconds out of your mouth. And just do that. Take that deep breath and shake it off. They're just people. They're people. I am friends with so many celebrities. I went to performing arts camp for 7 summers. My brother is a critic for Broadway movies. My friends are all writers, directors, producers, singers, performers, household names. They're just people. Okay. I was with them at 9 years old. They're just people. So when I really wanted Jack McCauley to meet my son, Gavin. So last year I met Jack, and Jack is one of an Eliances member. He's come, 7 or 8 years in a row, I think he said. Do you remember?
Something like that. Yeah. He's been a member for quite some time, coming up probably on a decade.
So Jack, who is Jack, a lot of people don't know him by name, but he invented, I think is the term here, Oculus and Guitar Hero. And I mean, he invents and does things with cars in his garage. The man, he's doing a water system. Like, he does all kinds of things. Follow him. So anyway, so last year I wanted to meet Jack because I have a son who is going to be an astrophysicist. He's an astronomy major, and he loves science and technology and gaming and all that. And so he was struggling a little bit with physics. And so Jack and I became good friends. We were we text, we talk on the phone, like all these things. And most people would be nervous about that, but I'm not. I approached. And so I actually was able to connect my son with Jack, and they did a phone call. And he was able to kind of answer some of his questions and things like that. You kind of have to find people that are on that same level or plane that you're on. Or when you're introducing people. This morning, David. So I went to Jacob's co-chair event last night at the Scottsdale Airport, like I mentioned. But David Wise and I met a long time ago from JetWise at an Alliance event. Look how I'm plugging everyone. Hello, this is what I do. I just help everyone. I haven't even talked about what I do. So David is also in the jet world, and I met him at Alliance's event, and Jacob is doing things with AI and jets. And this morning I did a group text, boom, done. they're already communicating. That's what this is about. It's those connections. I'm not making a dime off of that, by the way, any of it. But I would hope that when people are ready to build their personal brand or their business brand,
Absolutely.
if they want to do an event, if they need a speaker, if they want a podcast guest, they're going to come to Samara Beth & Co. for that.
Fantastic. And again, as a reminder, you're listening, watching me, David Cogan, host of the Eliances Heroes Show. Make sure that you go to eliances.com. That's ELIANCS.com. And make sure that you go to samarabethandco.com. So if you're listening online, samarabethandco.com. I want to shift gears a little bit. You've also raised millions in fundraising. What's one surprising lesson about asking for money that most people overlook? Because it's a sensitive thing, asking for money on anything and asking money for fundraising. So what's one surprising lesson about asking for money that most people overlook?
So that's another great question. So when it comes to canvassing and producing galas and fundraising events, which I've done anything from classroom fundraisers to school carnivals to massive galas to raising money for trust funds for children when their parent passes away. I've done that within like 2 weeks, and like you wouldn't believe the kinds of things I've thrown together in emergency situations. But what I can say is, number one, this is gonna talk about different levels of the economics. So you've got people who may not have a lot of money. Then there's people who have a good amount of money and they like to donate. And then there's people who are wealthy and they donate more. So when you're looking at, we'll start with the wealthy. Wealthy love canvassing, which means like they love to get people that they know to buy a table or multiple tables. They love to get recognized with awards. It's very strategic. So when people are, when you ask somebody to chair or co-chair, usually you have co-chairs, which is a smart thing to do because you don't want to monopolize and control the situation. You want to put it on the people that care, that are collecting, that are giving, and have friends and family that will do the same, that will follow their lead. So when you're choosing people to co-chair an event, to be the honorees, to be the speakers, to be introductions, to do all those things, it's very strategic. And so you want to do that for people that are going to bring more. It's like cross marketing. Think of it in that way, like social media. Like today I mentioned so many names. So David might have those mentions in the notes because they might send that out to their people. It's the same thing with fundraising. Now keep in mind, wealthy people, they have to donate. They need the tax deductions. It helps them and their businesses. So don't be scared to ask them. They usually have set nonprofits, or they're open to different nonprofits each year that they choose before December of that year, that they're going to do a certain number of donations. So don't feel shy about that. They're happy to do it. Some people just do it because they absolutely love giving back. And maybe they were in foster care growing up and now they're wealthy, and the appreciation and the success, they want to give back. So keep that in mind, and also be strategic on who you're asking. You want them to be connected to that nonprofit or whatever you're raising money for. The next thing is you have the middle ground, your middle class, or upper middle class, whatever it may be. So they like to donate too because they didn't all maybe necessarily start out that way, or they're just very giving, caring people. They might have religious beliefs that are big on giving back. They might just have that in their blood, like me. And so that's another section. So don't feel, just remember what goes around comes around, and you might be on that other side of the table, or they may have been on that other side of the table at one point. Now we have people who don't have a lot of money. Why would they want to give back? Well, they might just want to volunteer. That might be their way of paying back. And that's just as worthy and important as them giving money. Volunteers are hard. When I did the school carnivals for my kids' school, for my daughter's school in Canada, in Vancouver, I had 100 volunteers. But if I'm going to have 100 volunteers show up, I need 150 volunteers on the list, because 50 are probably not showing up to what they're supposed to do. So keep that in mind. And then also look at interns, students, church and synagogue groups, whatever it may be. There are so many people. My daughter volunteers, and you sign a paper, and she volunteers a lot. And when they sign a paper, and she gets volunteer credit for school. So think outside the box when you're trying to bring in volunteers, and see how they can also bring in donors, but donors want to donate. That's the point.
Do you also offer some service where someone can hire you to come with them to an event to help break the ice to meet others?
Wow. I just feel like that's my calling in life. So I guess I'm adding that to my list of services. Kind of like a matchmaker or a dating matchmaker there. Yes, I can definitely do that. In fact, I do it organically. So yes, people can certainly pay for me to teach them how to network. When I do my entertaining etiquette course, my etiquette course, and my networking your way to wealth or intention, that is actually very interactive, engaging, and fun. So that is a way that I actually literally am teaching people how to network in that room with those 3 courses. So we can take that course into anywhere and anything.
Phenomenal. Well, I got to tell you, what you're doing and helping and assisting others and connecting to others, helping to break the ice, it's priceless. There's nothing more valuable than that, because at the end of the day, it's connections that make the world go round. So make sure you reach out to Samara Beth, member of Eliances, building a winning brand, book more stages, bank more revenue. Go to SamaraBethandCo.com. Once again, SamaraBethandCo.com. Samara, it's been an honor to have you here today. Again, remember, at Eliances, it's the only place where
entrepreneurs align.
Thank you again for being on the show. You got to dance with me a little bit too.
I wore my disco shirt for you.
Oh, you did? Yes, you did. Thank you.